Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another GeoGuessr video and another Play and Explain video today on this very beautiful Sunday. Today I think we're going to be taking it a little differently and we're going to try probably what I think is my best area or region of the world in the game, and we're going to take it to Europe here. And we will try our best to explain every no-move round. I know a lot of people struggle with Europe and despise Europe. So I think this could be an interesting challenge and could be quite fun to potentially region guess as well as country streak. So yeah, let's try our best here and we're going to hop into it. All right, we got arbitrary Europe here. Let's get that challenge link for you guys. And I will put that on the notepad. And let's do it. All right, we start off in some sort of British Isles. We do have like these like random metal sticks coming out of a wooden pole, like is extremely common in the British Isles. So whether that be UK or Ireland, quite common in both. That being said, we do have one of my favorite fake metas of all time. If we see grass growing in the middle of the road, especially in Gen 2 or Gen 3, it's a very, very good indication for Ireland. And I think on this occasion, when we can't see too much of the architecture, like we can kind of see this, but it's very hard to see. I think on this occasion, we're going to have to trust the little fake meta here with the grass growing in the center of the road and just plonk a little bit of Ireland. And yes, it was. So it's a good start. And we get Kazakhstan here, in which we will probably be messing this one up quite hard. It's not autumn, so probably just go somewhere here or like Uralsk or something. It was Uralsk. Yeah, I guess this lines up a bit better. All right, next round. Not too much to talk about on that Kazakhstan round, so I didn't really go over it too much. But we do have a Danish bollard here with the yellow reflector and the salmon-colored band at the top. You won't always get the salmon-colored band at the top, but you will get that yellow reflector on pretty much most Danish locations. And it's going to have like a slanted diagonal top like that as well. I think that's a sign for Aalborg there at the top, although it is quite hard to read. We're going to say Aalborg is south, so maybe we go somewhere up here, it looks like. I don't hate it. It's quite flat. I think I would expect to see maybe a bit more rolling hill. I guess we have some hills potentially there, so I'm going to try it. And yeah, we were quite close to Aalborg there. Makes sense. And we'll move on to the next round. All right. First thing I notice here is the language. Gives very Romance language with the day in between. And, you know, I don't think it's Spanish or French or Italian. So with that consideration, we have to definitely rule in Romania, I'd say. Pretty cool sticker collection on here. Is that Morty? I see Jerry from Rick and Morty there as well. Anyway, sorry, got a little bit sidetracked there. And yeah, just got to be Romanian here. I think you won't get this like S with the little accent at the bottom or like the A like that in any of the other Romance languages. So I think Romania just makes the most sense, and we will hop into a little bit of Bucharest, and it was just Bucharest there with it being a big city. All right. This round here, we have Black Car with Antenna 2024. Actually not quite sure what this is, if I'm being completely honest with you. I would have expected to see some sort of a bollard, potentially. Road sign? I mean, this could be Hungary, was like my first thought. It is a bit weird, because if this was, Hungary is like my thought here with this sign. In Hungary, you get a little bit longer signpost, so the signs are a little bit higher up. Well, it's kind of hard to see from this angle whether or not that's a long signpost. The reason I rule out Czechia and Slovakia is because we would mainly get a flat guardrail there, This top and bottom looks rounded to it, whereas in the Czechoslovakia one, it would be flat with a little bit of space in between. So probably not there. And I think my best guess would be Hungary here. I guess it could be Bulgaria as well. Where do you get black car with antenna? Do you get it in Bulgaria? I'm actually not sure. Actually not sure. The main three considerations for me are going to be these three countries. I guess Romania, you wouldn't expect to see a white border on the sign. It would usually be a thick red border, although I have seen exceptions. So I'd probably rule out Romania, so it's between Hungary and Bulgaria to me. I think Hungary makes the most sense. I actually don't know about the car color and this antenna. Probably should, but it happens. All right, we'll go Hungary here, I think. And it was Bulgaria. Okay. That makes sense, certainly. But otherwise, I mean, we played okay. I think 18764. I think, like, dude, the black car is quite common in Bulgaria, I think, but it's fine. We will move on to another game here. And let me get that link for y'all. And we'll hop into game 2. I don't know if you get that car really in Hungary, but it's fine. We'll move into game 2 here. Try to forget all about our sins of the past. And we do have what would expect to see a blue sticker on here if this was France. How does this look? Extremely Italian though. So like this double pole thing is extremely common in France. Like the double wooden pole. You would expect to see a blue sticker on it most of the time, and like the pencil tip is quite common in France as well. But we do have some concrete poles as well, where it gets a little bit thicker at the bottom, a little bit thinner at the top, which is like much more common in Italy. I think in France you would mostly see like ladder poles that are concrete. And this house looks super Italian. It's very dry winter coverage. But yeah, with these rolling hills, looks like we got a decent amount of vineyards here as well. I think Italy makes the most sense, especially with the topography. Rolling hills like this. I think we will just drop it in Tuscany somewhere. And wasn't Tuscany, but right over the border, so not too bad. I think this is Lazio, right? Yeah, it is. Because it contains Rome. And we'll move on to our next round here, in which we actually have an interesting like mixture of poles here. So we have, first thing I notice is this pole. This is a quite common pole in Argentina, but you can get it in like other Spanish speaking countries as well. Like I've seen it in Uruguay mostly, and I've seen it in Spain too. And obviously this is in Spain because we're in Europe. And we do have a this is also interesting that we have like a Polish style of leaner pole. Usually you don't really see this in Spain. I don't think I've ever seen this in Spain, so this is like a first time thing for me. But yeah, this is the common pole top that you see, where it kind of makes like a kite shape at the top here with the gap, and then like a ladder pole. But yeah, other than that, pretty dry looking landscape. Like we are clearly desert-ish. We do have like a lot of these small shrubs that you would see in the desert, kind of similar to ones that you would see in Argentina, and a good amount of like fruit tree plantations, stuff like that. And we do have the Coto Privado de Casa sign, which means no hunting, which if you see the sign, the white sign with the black text, and it says Coto Privado de Casa, it will only be in Spain. Guess-wise, it looks quite dry, so I'm thinking like Andalusia or something down here. And yeah, we'll just drop it in Murcia province or border somewhere. Ooh, it was actually Legrano there, so not the best region guess. Makes sense, but yeah, my Spain is very poor. All right. This one you can strictly get off of the bollard, so it is a Croatian bollard, where similar to the Hungarian bollard, but the Hungary bollard will have a bit more white space on the top. So this part of like the black back with the red reflector will be a bit further down the bollard, as opposed to the Croatian bollard, where it's quite far up. And you get that diagonal slant to the top as well. Other than that, looks very Croatian. Obviously, country lying on the Adriatic Sea. You will get a lot of this Mediterranean style, like bushes, short bushes, not as many tall trees, and it is very rocky. So with all of those things, we will just be clicking Croatia. Was one of the islands there. Fair enough. We'll move on to the next round, in which we have German, it looks like. And we have Austrian style bollards. With those two things, the Austrian style bollards are going to be these. Sometimes you get that little Lego top, but yeah, with a black cap and the red reflector. And then on the other side, you'll usually get black. So in Austria, I've gone over this in the past, but if you see a black reflector on the backside of the bollard, like, that's always going to be an Austrian thing. I've never seen it in Slovenia. I know Slovenia and Austria do use the same bollards, but I've never seen it in Slovenia, like this black reflector. Use that cautiously, but it's worked for me every single time I've used it. But yeah, I mean, other than, like, we have German language here, so. And enjoying iCloud for Windows? Crazy pop-up there. All right, next round in Croatia again. And yeah, we know that because we have the bollards once again. And these poles are, you know, quite common in Croatia as well. Like, you can see the concrete poles sometimes. Then you can also get these wooden poles with alternating hooks, kind of similar to the ones that you would get in Bulgaria. Bulgarian ones are usually on concrete, whereas these are on wooden poles usually. And then you get these cinder block things holding the pole down at the bottom, which is like quite common in, like, mostly in Hungary. You'll see it a lot. You can sometimes get it in Czechia, Slovakia, Croatia, Slovenia, Romania as well. So that usually indicates, if you see this at the bottom of a pole, usually indicates that you're in, like, Eastern or Central Europe. But yeah, pretty straightforward Croatia here. We just talked about the bollards. So all right, we get 5 out of 5 on the country streak, so not too bad. Could have been worse. Region guesses could have been better, I guess. Maybe I should take a bit more time and put a bit more into these region guesses in the next 3 seeds. But we'll hop into another seed here of the Play and Explain. And we hop into an interesting looking Europe here. So on these, I think it does make sense to check copyright and car. 2023 blue car. Which doesn't really help me that much, if I'm being completely honest with you. We have a blue sign there. Architecture is... I feel that I might struggle with this location, actually. Does it say anything on the manhole cover? Very hard to see, very hard to see. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't read that. Blue street sign. Interesting signs there. I'm not too familiar with what that would be. I guess Germany does come to mind here, but I could see this being Eastern Germany, I guess, with the architecture like this, but I could also see it being Croatia or Slovakia. Can't read these, unfortunately. We have 2023 blue car. Very tall signpost here, which, like, is quite common in Germany. But I don't know if this street sign is quite common in Germany, is the thing. But yeah, 2023, obviously the best copyright for Germany, because that's going to be the earliest copyright that you can get in Germany. As all the Gen 4 is 2023 copyright and later. These signs don't feel particularly German to me. I will say that much. So I'm leaning towards Czechia now. I think I want to be geographically close here, even if I'm not in the right country. I don't know. This sign is a little bit weird. This... I think I'm going Czechia with this architecture. But... it could just be Germany, can't it? Like, I think I trust this signpost being quite tall. And I think I go Germany. But, like, maybe near Czechian border. Also, like, I see a lot of signs for, like, festivals and stuff, like, spammed in Germany. That's, like, the worst meta of all time. Alright, we're gonna try Marienburg. Okay, yeah. It was Falkenstein. So we get the, I mean, we get the good read down. Very close to Czechia, because the architecture was a little bit odd. But yeah, I'll take that guess. I'm quite happy with that, and I'm glad that we worked that one out. Mainly using that sign height there to kind of get us Germany. Although the other signs were quite odd. All right. This one, we're between Austria and Slovenia once again. Looks more like Austria, though, doesn't it? We have some pretty big hills looking into some decent sized valleys. So we don't have the black reflector this time, but just because it's a white reflector, it doesn't mean it can't be Austria. I think this no car with antenna is a bit more common in Austria as well. I've never seen these. It would help to see the I could actually see this being Slovenia, but I think we will just go Austria. But I'm not confident in this at all. Road feels a bit more Austrian as well, a bit wider, a bit better quality. So we'll try it. Okay, yeah, was Austria, close to the Slovenian border. So 2 good guesses of working it out, as we had a pretty easy one here, and we have some Danish signs. Like, these are one of the most famous like sign formats in the game. And we have a couple of Danish letters here. But yeah, a lot of the Danish signs are gonna have like stuff going around it. Like, they love to use pipes over the top of these signs as well. And I'm not going to bother scanning for this. We will just click the mathematically best hedge according to Finbar, and we'll click Samso. And it was a bit more west there, but totally fine. We'll move into another round in which we have 2024 blue car with antenna. So kind of a tough one here. First thought is Bulgaria, I think. So I think with this European round, where we don't have any infrastructure, no poles, no houses, the only infrastructure we have is this guardrail. So we have to use the info that we have to the best of our abilities. So, all right, so we can rule out Spain here because we have red reflectors in the guardrail. So Spain out. Portugal out because the climate doesn't feel as Mediterranean. Like, we have a bit more of these bigger pines and such that I wouldn't expect to see in Portugal. So Portugal out. France possible, but I feel like, okay, the road quality is quite good. But I think the disorganization of like a lot of these hills and such. Oh man, that's such a bad explanation. I also wouldn't expect to see like these electrical towers as much in Western Europe, I guess. So I'm ruling most of Western Europe out. Now, if we move on to the Balkans, just getting a better feel for the plants and such. If we move on to the Balkans and why this is the Balkans or something like that. So like, I'm ruling out Italy here. It could certainly be Italy. I have spoken in the past about how Italy does like to use, or like they usually paint their outer lines, especially on small roads like this, is quite common there. Probably most common in Italy out of like most of the other countries. But I'm ruling that out just strictly based off of looks. A lot more pines here than I would expect to see in Italy. Like, Italy's a bit of a drier climate, I guess, if that makes sense. So we're ruling that out. There can be places in Italy where you can get pines like this, but I don't know if like the rockiness here fits with all these pines, I guess. Very hard to explain as someone who's not a botanist, but we'll move on to why. Okay, so we're in the Balkan region. Shouldn't be Czechia, Slovakia with this guardrail, because we would get a flat guardrail with a little gap in the middle. The top and bottom parts of this guardrail feel rounded, and it's not flat. So it should rule those two out. Hungary seems a bit too hilly for Hungary, I'd say. Looks like we're somewhat up in the mountains. And the only parts of Hungary that get really hilly is Buki Park here, and then like this area around Budapest. You get some hills around Pécs, but I think this is a bit higher up. So that kind of leaves us with, I guess Austria is out of the question as well. just because of the road and how dry it looks. Like, it feels high up, but not alpine high up. So we're ruling out Austria, Slovenia. Croatia would have a flat guardrail here. So like completely B-type, no gap in the middle, but just flat. And yeah, you wouldn't see this indent. Serbia doesn't have Gen 4. Montenegro, Albania, North Macedonia don't have Gen 4. So that puts us between Romania, Bulgaria, and Greece. Can't be Turkey because of the blue car with antenna. You'll never get this car in Turkey. So we're between these three countries. And the reason I lean most Bulgaria is primarily because of the season in Gen 4. And this car, I don't think you get blue car with antenna in Greece in 2024. Somebody can fact check me and correct me on that, but yeah. So I'm removing Greece. Bulgaria and Romania between the seasons, I would probably say Bulgaria is more likely because it is summer Gen 4 coverage. Which Romania, you kind of get all kinds of seasons here. There's a lot of fall, a lot of spring, a lot of winter. Not as much summer from what I've seen. And I think Bulgaria is mostly summer Gen 4. There are some exceptions, of course, but this does look like pretty clear Bulgarian summer Gen 4 to me. So with all of that yapping, I think I'm going to send it. And yeah, it was Bulgaria right on the Greek border, in fact. But we do get the country right. We will move on to our final round in Romania here. We do have a very tall ladder pole, very long sticker as well, yellow sticker. And Romania does like to use these dashed white outer lines as well. So 3 good indicators for Romania. We do have a couple of metal roofs, a couple of tiled roofs. Seeing that mixture. Sticker's not super long. Hard for me to identify it sometimes. But like usually with the long sticker, you go one of these six provinces in Romania. But sometimes I misjudge how long the sticker is. But with this, I'm trying it. And it was misjudged because it was Strambagiu there. But we do get the country, and we get over a 20k, which is good on arbitrary Europe. And yeah, no rounds to really review there. I think I did most of the talking in the rounds. And we will queue up for our penultimate seed here. And we have a Baltic little flip here. It looks like 2024. Yeah, we do have polls, although it is quite hard to make out. Little tough. Looks... I rule out Latvia because I would expect to see some like alternating hook bowls usually. So I'm between Estonia and Lithuania here. I wish I could see like a clear Lithuanian bowl. It doesn't look like I will be able to though. It is 2024 blue car, which doesn't really help because you can get that in both Lithuania and Estonia. Architecture, I would say, probably looks more Lith than anything, like with these plain facades, like maybe a bit more colored houses. I guess there's one there. I think I'm going Lith here. Vibes-wise, it should be okay. But it's probably Lithuania or Estonia. I'm just not sure which one. So I guess we're trying Lith. Yeah, it was Lith. All right, nice. Nice. All right, little sign for Athens here, Velis. But we do have the Cyrillic for it as well, so we should be an NMK. We're on the N1. Do we look for a little cheeky 5K here? I guess so. So Velis is here. The M1 is the E75. Maybe not. Maybe it's this. Okay, we're not that close to Velis, fella. It splits off into 2, which is quite interesting. How does that work, Ben? Where's the angle even work for this? Like, I should be 5K'ing this? but angle-wise, how does this even work, man? It's a toll road, and then it turns into like an actual... But why do I not see this one? I guess we could be all the way up here. That is possible. We are... There's a little off-ramp there, or on-ramp, rather. And a little off-road here as well. Jeepers. I don't understand where it is. Can't even lie to you. Unless we're like here? This could make some sense. But I don't know if the curve angle is right. It looks wrong. It doesn't look right to me. Okay. Scratch that. This is the best thing that I've seen so far, though. Are we right by the airport? I mean, could this be the airport on the other side? Potentially. I don't know, man. I mean, this does line up a little better. And it is curving there. It could be this, but it feels really weird, man. Because I don't see any of these buildings that are supposed to be to our east. I guess this could be 39 kilometers. All right, we'll try it. Okay. It was there. I didn't see any of these buildings that were supposed to be here. But, I mean, the country got covered very long ago, so... Yeah, it could have just been built. But yeah, we finally found the 5K. It took a bit longer than it should have, but it happens. As we move into what appears to be Hungary here. Yeah, we do have a Hungarian, like, little road marker here. These little short markers with, like, green box with white text. Gonna be found in Hungary. And with that, region guess-wise, no idea. I think it's just dead set middle. IMO. And yeah, we'll just be sending that. It is all the way east. And we'll move on to this round. Oh, this round looks diabolical. 2023. No idea what this is. Looks like a little industrial plant. Okay, this is where streaks come to die. We're on a 13 streak, but I think it's going to die here, unfortunately. Because I have no clue what I'm looking at. We have 2023 no car. Do we have any indication of language anywhere? We do not. I mean, this is just a diabolical location, isn't it? I don't even know how to get this. It's like no car. I mean, you pretty much find it anywhere. Doesn't feel like Austria or Slovenia. Although the no car is quite common there. I guess it could be Slovenia, you know. But my first thought was like... Romania or Slovakia, maybe. I don't really know what to do with this one. Sometimes you get locations where you're just like, oh, there's really nothing to explain here. We just have an industrial looking building and no language and no infrastructure besides it and no poles and some kind of query there. But yeah, go in Slovenia. Was Belgium that no, well, it was the Netherlands. Okay, I mean, you know what, it's fair, but if you get Netherlands here, you're kind of cheating. Kind of the most diabolical Netherlands of all time that I've ever seen, really. So yeah, that's tough. All right, we'll move on. I don't think there's really too much to discuss about that round. All right, we have an Italian bollard here. Looks quite flat as well, so Po Valley certainly in the cards, and we will move on. All right. Not too bad, aside from that very diabolical south of Maastricht Netherlands location. But yeah, we'll do one more challenge here, one more little link, and let's hop into it. In Gen 2, architecture looks quite Nordic. We do have a lot of birches, so we know we're probably pretty far north here. And with Gen 2, stuff looking like this. Ladders, of course, to clear off the snow on top of your roof. Yeah, I'd probably just go Finland with Gen 2 here. Could be Sweden, of course, but Gen 2 a bit more still prevalent in Finland over Sweden. Yeah, it was very close to Helsinki there. We'll move on. Speaking of Sweden, we have a red car, which is found in Sweden, Slovakia, and Bulgaria, pretty much. This Gen 4 red car, rather. Swedish language, short outer dashes. Do a bit of a hill there. Yeah, I'll just drop it somewhere here. Was a bit more east, but not too bad. All right, this one looks like we're back into NMK again. No antenna on the car in Gen 3, which you won't get any antenna in Serbia except around Belgrade and in Belgrade, and then on the E75. And then you won't get it ever in North Macedonia in Gen 3. Serbia would have flat guardrails here, that B-type guardrail that I was explaining that you can get in Croatia as well. But NMK will have these A-type guardrails, so should be NMK here. Not going to bother trying to 5K this one, but it does look like we're somewhere in the flat parts on the A1. Let's drop it here. Yeah, it was a bit further down. But pretty close, and we'll move on to this round, which looks like Portugal to me, I think. Quite rocky, so it kind of has that Mediterranean feel to it. And it's also quite dry. I don't know what this pole is. That's an interesting pole. Certainly an interesting pole. Could be Spain as well. Can't really see if there's reflectors there. But the immediate vibe I got was Portugal here, with the short little bushy trees. I feel like you will get this in both Extremadura and around Sevilla. But I think overwhelmingly more likely for it to be Portugal. And like kind of Chilean line style. Also a bit more common in Portugal than it is in Spain. So we will just click Portugal. That makes sense with the poll now. Okay, so I see the error of my ways here. Okay, the reason that this is Italy is because this is a round concrete pole, bit thicker at the bottom, bit thinner at the top. Wow, how did Sardinia not come to mind here? It certainly makes a lot of sense. I just thought, I don't know. Like, I think I should have trusted the pole. I kind of disregarded it because I was like, never seen a round pole like that in Portugal, but yeah, it just makes too much sense now. All right, we'll hop into the last location here after completely embarrassing myself about why that one was Portugal, and this one looks like Romania, allegedly. White car, long antenna. I've seen this guardrail in Romania a few times, like black and yellow, to make sure that people don't crash into it, of course. And this tiled roof certainly makes sense as well. Feels a bit more disorganized, a bit more Eastern Europe. Dirt road as well usually points me more towards Eastern Europe. Bulgaria, I would probably expect this to be winter. And Romanian Gen 3 summer is quite common, so yeah, we will just drop it in here. It was a bit more east, but that's gonna be it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Yeah, let me know your guys' scores in the comments down below. Of course, play the challenges, and hopefully y'all enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, of course, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another GeoGuessr video. Peace.